Hello and welcome to part 2 in this thrift shop find, the awesome little Singer 328P that you see here. And in this video I'm going to show you how to inspect the motor belt, replace it if necessary, adjust it, and also how to inspect the motor brushes and to replace them if need be. In the first video I showed the tabletop here, just the general condition and how the tabletop works and the table itself, and also cleaned the machine up a little bit, lubricated it, and gave it a bit of a test run. So in this video, sorry about the rear view here, Molly, she's decided to park up on my piece of fabric I was going to use to put the machine onto while I had it out of the bench. Looks like I might have to go and find something else to do that. So thanks Molly, that's nice. It's good to see you though, isn't it? So in this video, part 2, I'd like to just rectify a couple of small things with the machine, mainly just the motor belt was slipping here. Yeah, the tabletop, maybe try repairing the tabletop. Now I'm no furniture restorer. I am going to try gluing the tabletop just to see whether that will hold it. It's a pretty high strength wood glue, so hopefully that is enough to hold it together. I've got this spare used belt, so I'll show you how to inspect the belt and then replace it if need be, or just adjust it if need be. Okay, so there's a couple of things I've noticed as well with this base here. I'll get you in for a closer look at that. I'll show you how I'm going to take the machine head out. It's pretty straightforward, it's two screws. So the plan is to get the machine out of this base here, just for ease of adjustment of the motor belt and inspection. You could probably get away with doing this with the machine head in the cabinet here. There's no reason why you couldn't do it, because you can actually just tip the machine back and get access to everything that you need. But I will go ahead and take it out here, just so that it's a bit easier for you to see. As you can see there, Molly's made herself more comfortable, so yes, I don't think she's going far. So this base is actually, yeah, this machine, the bed, the base here is actually measuring 16.5 inches exactly. But what I noticed with the base here is that it's been modified. I'll get you in for a closer look here. Now if you're familiar with these bases, you'll notice that the gap in here, this gap here, is a lot narrower than normal. Normally you could get quite a few accessories and whatnot down in this gap here, and you can also see here where it looks like this separator here has been moved. Just tip the machine back here. I didn't actually sort of notice this while I was recording last time. So they've just sawn through this piece of wood here. So this piece of wood here would have been along here, where you can see it at the other end here as well. And they've just literally cut through there with a saw and moved this piece here back a little bit. And if I measure that, so it looks like it's, this base here is for a smaller machine head. So that's 14.75 inch. That makes me wonder if this whole cabinet is really, a third-party design or aftermarket design, not actually a Singer one. Or whether this base here has been changed, I don't know. If anyone knows, I appreciate comment. I haven't looked too much into these. I just sort of grab these machines and go for it. I'll show you how to get the machine head out of the base here. So you'll see there's 2 screws, 2 grub screws, one here and one here. They basically hold the machine onto these hinges here. Loosen those grub screws. Just probably need a couple of turns. Couple of turns there. Okay, and once they're loose there, you can just lift the machine head up like that and off those 2 hinges. So you can see here, this is the other end. See, they've actually chopped, right, there's a couple of nails there holding this piece of wood in here, and they've just chopped right through and moved this whole piece back. just put this base back in here. Also noticed there's the hole in the front of this case here, you know, for the knee lever controller. So there would have been a knee lever foot controller type, you know, like a knee lever controller down in this space here, possibly on this machine here that this came from. I'll just put that back down there. So I just need to find something to protect this piece of wood here while I plonk the machine on there. Should I wake her up? I don't think so. She's a pain when she's awake. She walks right in front of the camera and, you know, a bit cuter when she's asleep. I found this. I use this a bit actually. It's just a nice sort of rubber mat, and protects tables and things like that for if you're using machines, you know, that don't have very good feet. And you can see that this one's actually missing a couple of the feet. Well, it's got one of the rubber feet here. It's got the metal post here on here. These two are missing. I'm not going to bother replacing the feet on this one at this stage. I do have spare feet. I've got black ones of these, but you know, I'd have to find a couple of posts there. And considering it's on a bench, I'm not going to worry too much. But this rubber mat here, quite handy. We don't really want to wake the sleeping baby. The belt was slipping quite badly in the last video, part 1. So we start by just removing these 2 screws here. And remove this plate. That. 2. Remove the plate here. And we can see the belt is pretty loose. So that's why it would have been slipping. So what you can do is you can check the state of the belt here just by turning it. And just, you're sort of looking for any notches and nicks or worn parts really. Sometimes you'll see a shiny spot where maybe the pulley or the belt has stalled on the pulley, and the pulley's just gone round and round and round and heated up the belt and damaged it. Yeah, you can see there that's part number 193077. Yeah, I'm not sure if you can buy these anymore as they are. I suppose you could somewhere. But Singer themselves, Singer New Zealand, they have very limited stocks of these original black belts. Apparently they had a fire in Australia and took out a lot of the old stock. So now what you get pretty much from Singer is these types of belts here. They don't, they're the same cross-section and whatnot. They work fine, it's just they don't quite look as good. So it's not appropriate for this machine, but just to show you what the belts look like now, more modern. So if you're using, you know, these belts on a machine that's got an exposed belt, they don't quite look as good. You know, it's quite nice to have the black belt or the, you know, the coloured, like so the green belt and whatnot for the other models, different coloured belts. So first of all, I'll show you how to remove and replace the belt, and then I'll show you how to adjust it. So you can get to the adjustment through these holes in the side here. It'll be more clear once I get the bottom off. You can see what I'm actually doing here. So as I said before, you don't have to remove the machine head from the cabinet here. You can access these holes without taking the machine head out, but just thought I'd show you a bit more clearly there. Just whip this base off. You don't have to take this off, but just so that I can show you. And this is the important part here. Now we've got a locking screw here that clamps everything up in position, and we've got this plastic eccentric piece here that you can move once the mounting screw's loosened. You can loosen the mounting screw there, just like that, and then you can get your screwdriver into the little slot here and you can adjust. It's really, you can see the motor block. If you look at this plate here, you'll see it moving. That's what the motor's attached to. So that's loose, and then if I come down, actually I'm wondering if this is broken, because that should be adjusting better than that. Sorry about the background noise, you might hear aircraft and whatnot, cars. So I'm just going to take a look at this because, yeah, you can see it's offset. And that inner piece here locates inside this piece here. It should really allow that to move up and down. It doesn't really matter if this isn't working 100% because you can adjust it manually. So is there something missing? Because I thought, oh no, that goes into there. So when you turn this, that outer ring there should be pushing up against something on here, but I suspect there's something missing there. So probably just going to have to manually adjust this. I found this 518 Singer in my stash, and I can show you what I'm talking about with this motor adjustment block here. I'll just tip the machine back here. You might notice a difference already. So you can see there's this little tab coming over here and almost sort of wrapping across this little round eccentric plastic piece here. And if you have a look here, if I just loosen that screw there, and there's another one of these tabs on the top there, and that, if I can find the little slot, it's just a little bit harder to see with this model, but you might be able to see there, if I turn that, you can see this block here moving, and you can see the motor moving here. So that's tensioning the belt there. So just turning this eccentric disc here is adjusting the motor belt. Just thought I'd do a sanity check, and here's another 328P. This one's missing the little pins off the spool holder pins there, the plastic pins there. Looks in pretty good condition though. Actually might even be better than the one I've got in the cabinet. But anyway, just as a sanity check, I thought I would have a look at how this one's configured. And you can see there, it's exactly the same as the one I've got in the cabinet, which I've been showing you. And this disc has no effect whatsoever on the adjustment of the belt. It's almost like they did away with the little lug that goes over here and the one over the top, and just used this here because, you know, it's in the parts inventory, and why not use it as a spacer? So yeah, interesting. Maybe all of the 328Ps are like that. It's funny, you know, finding out these little tiny little quirks between different models. So what we'll have to do is just manually adjust this. So I don't think this really matters where it is at this stage because it's not affecting anything at all. That should be moving. When I turn this, it should be moving this whole assembly up and down like that, the whole motor. So effectively I'm just pushing the motor down so that the motor belt tightens to a point, and then I'm going to just tighten this mount screw here. Now when I'm doing this, I'm basically moving the motor here, so I'm just going to loosen that screw again because that belt's still a little bit loose. It's difficult to convey, you know, on camera how tight that should be because it's not field of vision, but you'll probably get a fair idea. So as long as it's not too tight, that's the key. You don't want that too tight. So I've just loosened the mount screw there, and I'm just going to push that motor down a little bit. See if I can get a bit more tension on that now. So it's holding a little bit of pressure down on that pulley there. And I'm going to tighten the mount there. Just be aware that when you tighten the mount, sometimes it can put extra pressure on the belt. The motor moves slightly, can tighten or loosen. But that's pretty good. It's quite firm. Actually, it might be a little bit too tight. So I'm just going to loosen the mount a little bit. get a little bit more slack there. So you want a little bit of movement there. Should not be difficult to move that. If you have it too tight, it can strain the pulley and the bearings and the motor, and also slow the machine down. And also sometimes if you have the belt too tight, that when you loosen the stop motion clutch knob here, because there's a lot of tension on the belt, it pulls the pulley down onto the shaft harder, and you'll find that this won't disengage properly. That's always something to look for too. So it's a matter of finding the balance between too tight and too loose, but that feels okay. So you don't really want to be, touching anything in here while you've got the machine plugged in, especially around the motor there, but we can give it a run. And that seems to be driving fine. And what I do to sort of test that, the belt's not going to slip under a little bit of strain, I just hold back a little bit on the wheel here. You don't want to stall the hand wheel and make the motor pulley drive on one spot on here. What I'm doing is just stressing it a little bit, but also enough, only enough to keep the belt moving as well. Yeah. So you can see there it started to spin a little bit there. So that, that's probably just a little bit of damaged spot in the belt. In fact, I can actually see a little bit of damage on the belt here, a little bit of a nick there, and that's where it's stalling. If I'm holding back, you can see this little bit here chipped away, and so I've got a little bit of power on, holding back, and you'll see it'll slip. It slips there again, and that's where this damaged part is, you see. Yeah, every time. So there's a bad spot in the belt there. So I'll show you how to fit another belt. This one looks in slightly better condition here, so go ahead and do that. Okay, so to replace the belt, first thing I'll do is just loosen the mount screw here. And normally you would turn this here to loosen the belt, but because it's not working, I will just push the motor belt, or the whole motor, up there. And you can see that's given us a lot of slack, and that allows you to pop the motor belt off the bottom pulley there. I've turned the machine off, by the way. Flip that off there, undo the clutch here. I'll show you how to put this back in. So you just need to loosen the screw here enough to allow it to unscrew this here. That there. There, and then take note of what way this little ring is. You can see it's got the writing on it, made in Great Britain. Yeah, that's the other thing too, is a commenter actually left a message to say that the parts were made in Scotland, Kilbowie, and shipped out to Australia, and the machines were assembled in Penrith there. And then, the whole pulley can come off with the belt nice and easily like that. And while you've got the pulley off here, I would just lubricate this here, just on that shaft there. So I think it's probably a good opportunity at this point, if you wanted to check the motor brushes, is to do so while you've got the plate and the belt and the pulley off here. So if you want to see that process, I'll add that in after I've shown the belt replacement and adjustment there. So I've done indexes down below, so you can just skip ahead and look at that if you want to, and come back to this later if you want. And then you get your new belt and you just slip it over the pulley just into the little groove here, like so, and then slip the pulley back on. Try and keep it on there, and then you can just, you know, slip the belt over the motor pulley here. Make sure that's right up. Yep, just slip it over there, and then just go through that tensioning process again to tension the motor belt there. And as far as the ring goes here, you can see there's two little cutouts in the end of the shaft there, and two little sprigs here either side. And so with this particular one, it's going to be a 50-50 whether you get this right or not. So what I tend to do is just put it in there like that, just try and stop this from falling off whilst you screw the stop motion screw back on. So yeah, the ring's fallen off. I'll just do that again. Just got to be careful. And what I do is I tighten it up tight like that, and then I bring this to the 12 o'clock position. And I'll show you the back of this screw here, and then take this off carefully, trying not to knock the little ring off. And there's other ways to do this, but I find this the easiest way. You can see there the other end of the screw protrudes from the back of the here. So when you do this up, you can see it comes through like that. And that little stopper there, that's what butts up against these little lobes here. So you want to have that so that the, you saw before where I put the screw up to the 12 o'clock position, and you can see there that this little lobe is just past the 12 o'clock position. It might not look like it on the camera, but it is. It's just the angle of the camera. This is at about 12:30, so that allows this to, you know, clamp everything up as it should be. And when you loosen this, so you're coming anti-clockwise, it comes down and stops on this lobe here, and that gives you the free motion clutch, you know, this movement. Sorry, I just moved that slightly. Okay. And see, if you did it 180 degrees out, you'll see that the lobe is at about 11 o'clock. So, you know, the little stopper on this here, that little stopper there is going to come up and hit this way before that's tightened up. So the stop motion clutch will never tighten. So you just want to have it so that it's past the 12 o'clock position. Screw that back on. There we go. And then do up the little stopper there like that, and then we can check it. Yep, that's good. Okay, so I've gone ahead and tensioned the belt there. Yeah, that belt's a lot better. So we can test the free motion here. Just undo that for the bobbin winder there, and that shouldn't turn at all. And then we can tighten this up, and that should turn. And I'm just straining it a little bit there. Sorry, Molly, did I disturb you? She's deaf as a post, so no worries. I mean, she won't hear any of this. Yep, really good. So, yeah, just a belt looking a bit dodgy there. Look at that. And there's a couple of cracks here. So yeah, definitely no good. I had a look at this a little bit earlier, and I think to do this properly we need to get the motor out at least partially. Just looking at that there, we'll start by taking this little strain relief clamp off the cable here, remove that. That gives us a little bit of slack on the cable. And then undo the mount screw there. I'll take this right out. It's a little bit more awkward to check the motor brushes on a machine like this because, you know, as you can see, the motor's sort of hidden away in the machine there. It's a bit easier to do on machines that have got the exposed motors because it's just a matter of taking the little motor brush caps off and removing the motor brushes from there. But to try and get this one out, I might try and push this little locator up out of the way there. Just loosen that screw there. Push that up. Comes up. We'll pull it. Let's make sure that's loose properly. Yeah. There we go. Make sure you've got your machine disconnected from the power at this point. See whether we can jiggle this out here. Get that right up out of the way. Is that going to come out? Seeing whether this will come out, what if I have to take anything off. Just want to be careful here. This looks like it's so close. There we go. Can I get to the brushes from there? No. It's fairly tight. I'm wondering if I have to take the mount off, possibly. It's probably quite difficult for you to see down in there, but I think I might need to get this here off. Gee, they don't make it easy. I was wondering whether to take this pulley off. I might need to take that off anyway. I'm not 100% sure if I do, but I'll take it off. There's just a grub screw down in here. You can see that grub screw is quite long there, so it's going quite a way into the shaft there. And that should, yeah, so motor pulley here just pops off nice and easily there. It's quite nice. Yeah, I think this here, this whole piece here has to come off. Yeah, they certainly don't make it easy to replace the motor brushes on some machines. I'm going to try loosening this nut here, and there's a bolt basically that goes straight through from the back here. It's tight. Yeah, the screw's turning at the other end there. Just see if I can get this off here. So there's a nut and a spring washer there. Now I'll see if I can get the bottom one off here. This one down here. Is that a different? Oh, this little rubber grommet is in the way. See if I can just push that rubber grommet out of the way there. Yep, that's got it. Oops, okay, just drop that screw down there. Let's get that spring washer off there. And will this come off? Yep, it's going to come off. To push this motor back here. It's a bit of surgery just to check the motor brushes. There we go. There's a little washer on the back of this bearing here, In fact, there's another one on the shaft. Just got to make sure I don't pull that armature out of there. So a little washer to go back on when I put it back together, and see whether that gives us enough room to maneuver here. Gee, it's going to be interesting to put it back together again. Just going to reposition here just to see what's going on in here. Oh yeah, so we've got this. I think if I take that screw out, I can probably get this here off. So there's a screw and a washer, and it's not coming past this screw here now. Oh, so I have to remove, not sure if you can see it there, that little screw there. Let's get that off. I must remember to find that nut too. Drop down in there. That one, that screw there. And then I should be able to get that screw there out. That screw. It's going to be fun to put back together. That screw, yeah. That gets this out. Screws down there. There. Somehow hold that out of the way. Jeepers. We're still, what are we? Oh, there we go. Okay. So I just want to remove this cover here whilst trying to hold everything together. I just don't want that armature falling out there. Let's remove this. And there we go. Ooh, motor brush territory. Just in here. Nasty. Sometimes they leave a little slot so that you can inspect, you know, the motor brushes there, the life of the motor brushes. I don't really like these, you know, these tabs they have, these fold over tabs here. Under here is the motor brush, and to inspect it I have to, you know, pull this tab up straight here so that the motor brush can come out with its spring. I'll do it on this one, but I don't like doing this because all it takes is a few bends back and forward of this tab and it can just fall off. You know, then you're into, you know, repairing the tab there so that it stays on. It's not a fun task. So just carefully lever the tab up a little bit, gentle as it goes. Try not to let the spring ping out with the brush on it. Just gently pull that out like that. There's the spring. Okay, and here's the motor brush, and no worries, we've got heaps on there. So when you do take that out, just make sure it goes back in the same way you take it out. No worries there. So I'm not going to bother checking the other one. I assume that it's worn at the same rate, both of them. Whew, and then just bend that back down like that. There we go, motor brushes checked. Yeah, not an easy task, but a necessary one, I think, if you don't know how much use the machine's had. Probably a good idea to check that from time to time. Am I going to be lazy and just say that the assembly process is the reverse of the disassembly process? Or will I show you that? Bear with me. As I say, you know, there's an index. You can skip things if you don't want to see them. But I think it's quite good to be thorough. My handy split screwdriver, ideal for this job. It's cross-threaded. That's got it. Okay. If you go to tighten a screw and it tightens instantly without having to be screwed in, it's a good sign that the screw is cross-threaded, and sometimes it just takes to reverse the screw and then start again so that it finds the thread properly. And then go ahead and put this back in, right? Hopefully do this in the right order. Like that. Okay, don't forget the washer here. Just slip that washer on there. Okay, that's looking good there. And I think I could probably put the nut back on there just to hold it in position temporarily. Sorry about my hands in the way there. Sometimes a bit awkward when you're trying to point the camera right in there as well. Let's put that washer on there and this nut. Watch me drop it. Okay, just going to tighten that there. Okay, so there's this terminal here that the other nut this machine screw here goes through. So that goes like this. And then I think the terminal sits on there. So I need to just position that. Almost need a second pair of hands here. Jeepers. Oh, no. Right, now just to line the hole up. I can't see it. Get my torch. Where is it? Oh yeah, I'm actually on there. Am I? No. Just got to come back a fraction. I knew this, when I was taking this out, I knew this was going to be interesting to get back in again. Can't see because of this. It's close. It's very close. There we go. I think that's it. Yep, that's got it. Whew. Right. So I've just pushed that screw right through and I'll get the other nut. I've got my hand jammed under the machine trying to stop the other screw, this screw from coming out. I'll put the washer on there and then try and get this screw on, the nut, sorry. That's got it. Jeez, have to be a right contortionist. Yep, that's tight. Oh, starting to work up a sweat here. Who would have thought? Gee. Okay, and then I just need to get that little screw just down in there. I've got it lined up there. I daren't breathe on it. This is quite tough to do, even without trying to do it from around a camera. Yeah, my screwdriver's catching. It's not quite in the right place. See if I can get it started at least. Not started, but at least it's in position there. There we go, here we go. cross threaded. Yeah, that's got it, I think. Yep, that's got it. Now that that's done, I'll put the motor pulley back on and just feed the grub screw until it falls partly into the hole there. I think that's it there. And then just see if I can do this screw up here. Yeah, that's got it. Tighten that. Good. And then if we come in underneath here again, and we'll put the mount back together here. Screw this in here. Just get that started. And then that goes in there like that. There we go. That's it. Okay. And then position this back down here. That little guide there. It's starting to go there now. Oh, that got it. Ow. Alright. I better not forget the little cable retainer here. We better screw that back in. And that's pretty much it really. Now it's just a matter of putting the motor belt, back on, and the hand wheel, stop motion clutch knob there, and the side cover. So you can refer back to the section where I show you the checking and replacing the motor belt, and I show all of that reassembly process. So I've left index or chapters down in the timeline there that you can refer to. Okay, now it's just a matter of getting the machine back into the cabinet here. So it should be able to just hold these hinges and guide them into the holes there. Good, just like that there. And it's just a matter of doing these screws here up on those hinges there. One there. One there. So there we go, all back together now. And do a quick test sew. Looking good. So that's it for this one. The video's gone a little bit longer than I expected, just with those motor brushes checking and or replacing the motor brushes there, having to pull the motor virtually out of the machine there. So I was going to show you the repair of the table here, this cabinet, but just suffice it to say that I will I'm not going to bother with this big crack here. It looks like this wood here has just shrunk, and this crack's formed here, split here. It's not too bad. I'll go ahead and clean up the surfaces here, just get any marks that I can off them, and give the tabletop a nice oil there. The other wing, it looks like someone's actually, I think I showed it in the first episode there, someone looks like they've not pushed out the little stabilizer properly, and they've leaned on the wing and it's cracked. It's caused a big crack along where the hinge is there. I'm going to try some high strength glue there, and if I get a chance I'll show you quickly in another video. But I'm pretty pleased with the way the machine turned out. I really like these machines, and I think if you see one in the wild I would definitely pick it up, because they're very reliable. There's not a lot that goes wrong with them. There's no plastic gears in them. It's all metal, there's all metal linkages. The motors seem pretty strong and powerful in these machines. I haven't seen one fail, and the motor belt is available, I'm sure. Yeah, so I'm pretty impressed with the machine. A little bit noisy, that's the only thing I would say against it, but I mean, it does a very nice stitch. It has pattern cams available, what they call fashion discs, so it's reasonably versatile. It's got some attachments, so straight, zigzag, some fancy stitches, buttonhole, manual buttonholes, things like that. I really like the machine actually, and the fact that it's made in Australia, just across the ditch there, you know, you can't go wrong really, can you? Well, assembled in Australia, okay, so made in Scotland I guess, and assembled in Australia. So yeah, pretty cool. And the table, I like this idea. I can swap in and out machines onto this table that are the same size as this here, same size as the machine base. So yeah, keep an eye out for another video. I might just do a quick one on the cabinet here, show you the repairs there quickly, and also maybe swap another machine head in and see how that goes. So yeah, thank you very much for watching. I'd also like to thank my patrons on Patreon. Thank you very much for your support, it's greatly appreciated. If you'd like to help support the channel, hop over to patreon.com/sewing machines, and over there you'll get early access to videos and exclusive content.